What's going on today, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over the Void Gauntlet DPS build that I use. I usually pair this with my life staff when I'm in groups, trying to make sure that we're healing, running dungeons. Anytime where I got to be the support healer, this is usually what I use, where I can help out in certain instances to throw some DPS in there. But my main primary objective is to put out as much healing as possible. Kind of my thing. Most people pair the Void Gauntlet with the life staff because they scale well together. There's a lot of different things that you could do with them, but I have a build I think you can run solo or run in a group, and it's kind of a great build, honestly. So if you pair it with the life staff, you definitely can get enough healing and enough DPS out of it that it does work. Most people, I think, select different weapons that don't scale with the life staff but still work. I use hammer most of the time. The war hammer is great, I think, for DPS. I really think with this Void Gauntlet, you can get decent DPS. And when you're in groups, healing is key. As for dungeons or whatnot, I think the abilities on this is great. With the orb of decay, or I mean, sorry, the orb. Sorry, not that. Yeah, it's the decaying orb. Not only that, but using Essence Rupture. Man, I got a tongue twister today. Essence Rupture together gives you plenty of healing, burst healing if needed, target focus, and then if you pair that with the Void Blade, you get enough DPS in order to kill anything that you kind of deems fit. So let's kind of hop right into the build. I'll kind of go through exactly what the layout is and kind of where I use all 20 points. I don't have my gauntlet on here fully spec'd, but I know what I plan to use on the last two levels that I need to gain. So let's hop over there, and I'll show you what we got going on. All right, guys, so let's look at this Void Gauntlet build that we have here. So, of course, we're going to start on the Annihilation side. First one we're going to grab is, of course, Void Blade. Everybody kind of knows what it is. Just gives you a plasma sword from Halo, so you can go in and attack. Second perk, 10% damage while below 50% mana. I notice when I'm running the healing staff and the Void Gauntlet, mana sometimes becomes a point where it gets low. So you want to make sure we can take that 10% damage buff while it's under 50%. Then we use Fortified Blade, gain Fortify on a start, increasing damage absorption by 20%. So as you go in and jump in for DPS, you get a 20% absorption damage, which is pretty good. Then I pair that with the 10% cooldown reduction on all abilities on critical hits. This will help kind of bring up Orb of Decay. Orb of Decay. Yeah, and Essence Rupture back up faster, so you make sure you got more heals, burst healing, or just damage output healing. Then I pair that with Vicious Void, 10% critical damage on Void Blade attacks. This is great for other perks that give you critical chance or cooldown with critical chance hits, or health gain with critical hits. This is a big key to that. And then I have on critical hit gain health equal to 15% of damage done. These two pair very well together. It's a must. Then you have Leeching Blade with successfully thrust attack heals for 0.5% weapon damage, which is great while using this, because as you're putting in DPS, of course, you're getting hit. You're not actively healing yourself or anybody else. This will kind of keep you alive. You can bounce in and out of DPS and maybe your Sacred Ground, and you need to pop out, and then you leech forward in order to kind of put out some damage. Then you have on the other side, which is called Decay. First thing we're grabbing is Orb of Decay. This is great for a lot of different reasons. For healing abilities, burst healing, kind of gives an area effect. Not only that, but every enemy it passes through, it also gives a little buff. Next, I'm going to grab the Thirst, 5% mana per successful range light attack targets affected by your Void Gauntlet debuffs. So it's going to help kind of keep the mana up while you're using the Void Gauntlet, and help out if you need to switch to the staff in order to throw some other things down. The next one is, of course, going to be Draining Orb. Gain 5% mana per enemy hit with an orb. This is great because if you have hordes of enemies, or you're in a dungeon and you have a tank that's got all the enemies on them, you throw the orb out there, 5%, there's 5 of them, you're getting great mana build back from that. So this is really good to kind of help build up mana. And not only that, but give bursts of healing. Then I use over here is a Radiant Efficiency. Mana costs are reduced by 25% while above 0% mana. I think that's supposed to be while above 50% mana. That's what it is, I think, on the game. So this kind of gives you a little bit of, on the top end, it doesn't cost you so much mana to cast. And then when you get down below 50%, you're going to get the damage buff from the other side. Then we have Slowing Orb. The orb slows enemies afflicted by any debuff, reducing their movement speed by 30%. And then you have Detonating Orb, which I think is the key to this. You have to have Detonating Orb. As you throw the orb out, it will go through all the enemies. As it comes back, you then explode it, and it will make a big burst over like a 4-meter area and give a nice burst healing up from their weapon damage, which is very, very nice. And then I'm grabbing Mending Evasion. Dodging with full mana heals you for 80% of weapon damage. Great thing. Especially I'm so used to dodging because on the life staff I have it set up where I dodge, heavy attack, then I throw it down to give me all these buffs in order so I can heal a lot more. And then over on here I have Essence Rupture. This is another great one. It fires a projectile that inflicts Essence Rupture for 10 seconds, healing anyone that hits the target for 20% of their damage done. Does not apply to damage over time. Another great thing for bosses and mobs, you throw this in there. Hopefully you hit the right one. You usually focus on the boss, so when somebody's doing DPS, they're getting health to absorb the damage that they take. And it kind of gives you a minute to breathe, gain mana, jump in, throw in DPS on the monster with them with your Void Blade. You can do a lot of different things with this. Then you have Rupture, which a player additionally receives 15% mana. Not a big deal. You can probably switch this out if you really wanted to, but I like it because you have to get to the bottom one, which is Overflowing Essence. This gives a 4-meter... friendlies within 4 meters of the afflicted area are healed 80% of their weapon damage. I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy amount of healing you're getting if they're pumping out a lot of DPS. Tanks love this. DPSs love this. They just love what I do with this build. This, I believe, is probably the most versatile build you can kind of make with the Void Gauntlet in order to use it. A lot of people will kind of use Oblivion. I've seen builds with that before, which I've used also, but it takes away from having my Void Blade because I'm not going to give up Essence Rupture and Orb of Decay. They're too valuable for exactly what I'm doing. So that means you have to give up Void Blade. So where does your DPS come from? That's the problem. So I think this is like perfect for all around builds. If you're soloing, if you're in a group, if you're in a big group running dungeons, this is the build that you want to use for the healing side. Now, you can switch this up a lot different ways if you really wanted to. I might even put on here Glimpse of Void. I think this is a big one. I might actually switch one of these out for that. If I really think about it, I'd probably take out Forsaken Pack to come down here to get the reduce on all cooldowns. So you can kind of play with these. It's 10% damage below 50% mana. But I think if you really look at this one, is gain a stack of Void Essence per successful ability hit at 4.0 or more stacks. Your next successful range attack will cool all your abilities. This is something that can really help a lot if you are spamming all of these. I noticed depending on in the area, the layout, the group I'm with, I will heal more than I need to, or I'll pump out too much too fast and I'll run my mana down. I have to use mana potions, which I always keep in my back pocket, but if I can create a build where I'm not using mana potions, I think that is probably a very good thing and will save me on money and resources. So you can bounce back between the two, so I probably would leave this here just in case, but you can use both and it's going to be pretty much the same thing. You just might not get the cooldown, but you're going to get the damage on the back end. So either way, it's kind of up to you how you run it, but this is kind of how I do it. Let's hop over to the life staff and kind of look at what we got going over there. So this is my all-around life staff. I figured this is like the best setup I've had so far. It gives me enough healing, protection, and for even solos, it gives me good target healing for groups. We'll kind of blaze through this one fast because I've done this in a couple of videos, and it's kind of the same build a lot of people have. So the first three things you gotta grab is Absolve, where life staff and hand attacks no longer consume mana. Combats are #1 problem in the beginning. Then you have heavy attacks now remove 1 debuff when passing to allies. This is always good to have. Confusion, poison, all those types of things. It will help remove that. Light attacks are now healed for 16% of weapon damage passing through allies. Always great to have if you're trying to, just move around the outside and still put out some DPS. This will help you heal if you shoot through your player teammates. and gives just a little extra bonus. Also, if you want to just top somebody off as you guys are running, this is also nice to have. Then I'm going with Sacred Ground, which of course is a 3-meter radius, lasts for 12 seconds. Allies are healed for 16% of weapon damage, which is great for tanks, healers, bosses, anything like that. You drop this on the ground, and they just put out damage, and he heals them. And then you have Holy Ground, regenerates stamina and mana 50% while in Sacred Ground. And then I'm going to go with Blessed. While allies are in Sacred Ground, they are healed for 50% from all healing. So they get another little buff. Then I'm going to kind of take Desperate Speed over here. When you heal allies below 50% health, life staff abilities cooldowns are reduced by 10%. Always need that. The more I can cast, the more I can heal, the more people can focus on what they're doing and not having to hit their potions. And it's very key to this build. Revitalize. When you hit a target with a light attack, reducing life staff abilities cooldown by 5%. So as you're kind of circling around waiting for everything to come by, you're throwing these out, light attacks, to kind of bring down the cooldowns. Along with Desperate Speed, it's a really good combo. And then you put down Enchanted Justice. When in battle, activating the healing oil aura for you and nearby enemies in a 4-meter radius. The aura heals for 8% of weapon damage for 6 seconds. I know 8% isn't that much, but you stack it on everything else we have in this build. It's solid. When you hit Intensify, when you hit with a heavy attack, gain stacking 10% bonus to healing effect. I think this is key. I'll tell you why I put this on there, because I pair this with this little bend light up here, and I'll explain why later. Sacred Protection, while holding life staff, increases the amount of incoming healing for all friendlies in your group by 5%, another stack. And then you have Divine Blessing. When you heal an ally below 50%, you heal 30% more. This is great if you have anybody who drops, gets stunned, gets knocked back by an enemy. They drop below 50% health. I can get them back up with all the buffs I have on the left side. Plus this, you can easily heal for 3,000. There's no doubt in my mind of what we're kind of got going on here. And then you pair this over here. The first thing I'm taking is Bend of Light. After you dodge, your heals are 20% more effective for 5 seconds. So this is a deadly combo, in my opinion, for healers. What I do is I will dodge, I will hit a heavy attack, and then I'll throw down like Sacred Ground, or if I'm doing target healing, I'll throw down Light's Embrace, and that gives me 3 different debuffs, or 3 different buffs to pump out as much healing as possible. I do this combo, everybody's staying healed. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And then you have Orb of Protection. You shoot out light projectile that grants 10% fortified, 20% heals allies 10% of weapon damage, and deals 146% weapon damage when it hits an enemy. And fortified reduces incoming damage, of course. Great thing to have. Probably the least used of the 3 abilities in this area, but it is very good to have, especially like halfway through Sacred Ground. You throw out an Orb of Protection. It just gives you that little bit of bump, and it'll kind of expand a little bit longer where you're not consistently having to keep throwing down Sacred Ground. This can kind of give you a nice, good little bump. Then you have Protector's Touch. Life Staffs, light, and heavy attacks grant 15% fortified for 3 seconds when hitting an enemy. Just reduces incoming damage. Then I'm going to take Protector's Strength. If you have a buff, you heal for 10%. This goes back to pairing with these 2. Intensify, Bend of Light, and Protector's Strength. This is going to give you a 50% bonus on healing. This one gives you a 20% more. This gives you 10, so that's 30, and this one's 40%. And I think I have another one over here with a buff that, kind of gives you more damage. But still, 40% buff by just dodging and shooting a heavy attack before you even heal is a great way to run this. Then you have Light's Embrace, which is great for target healing. This is actually very, very solid. If you have like an archer or another range guy in the group that's not in your Sacred Ground, not in the Orb of Decay explosion, or is not putting DPS on the boss too much close up from Essence Rupture, this one I can really focus on dropping the Sacred Ground, make sure everybody on target is getting healed, and then as I walk around and watching the health on the left side of the bar, I hit him with Light's Embrace to heal our DPS archer or musket guy to make sure that he stays alive, because that's my main goal, right? And then I have Balance. When you get hit with below 50 health, you get 10% haste, no big deal. And then Life Staff buff grants 20% longer, so everything lasts longer for us. This is great for, just great to have. I mean, 20% longer with any of these perks is great. Not only that, but You can also use this on the Void Gauntlet too if you switch over fast enough. It's pretty good. So that's that build here. This is a great setup. I think this is a well-rounded build-up that can be used as the most healing output you can use. Some people use Beacon. I'm not the biggest fan of Beacon. I've tested it, but I kind of like having Light's Embrace more than I have Beacon, just due to the fact that I can target heal. Target healing is a big thing to me when you have other people in the group that you need to make sure that they are healed. So that's a good thing. You can also use Splash of Light, 100 meters. It's good. Situational, I believe, but I think these three are where you need to be at for a healer. So let's kind of hop back. If you guys liked the video today, make sure you hit like, comment, subscribe. Really help me out growing the channel. Appreciate the views. Hope you guys have a good day. We'll have more videos coming like this for you in the future. So stay tuned. Be doing a lot of different build guide videos, all those different things. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a good day.